Welcome to everyone. Our humble pranamas at the lotus feet of our dear Bhagwan. We thank Swami for giving us this wonderful opportunity to have an impromptu satsang with Dr. Ravishankar Polisetty. He's not new to us. He spoke in our region too during the New Year time. We got a beautiful opportunity to listen to his talk, and we are also getting another opportunity to have his talk within our center, and also Sister Center where Falls Church is joining us today. I know it is snowing, it has been snowed, and everybody are busy cleaning up their driveways and trying to get safe, being safe at home, warm and safe. But before we ask Dr. Ravishankar Polisetty to come over and give his wonderful talk and experiences related that he has with the Bhagwan, we would like to just give a brief introduction about Dr. Ravishankar Polisetty. When we saw the bio of Dr. Ravishankar Polisetty, it's a huge. He has a lot of degrees to his hat, but we like to be very brief, short, take some brief points in that bio, and let me just talk what is his Dr. Ravishankar Polisetty is. He's a cardiovascular surgeon turned naturopath and an independent Python programmer, and he's also a master in artificial intelligence and machine learning by profession. He's based in India with some offices in United States, Russia, and Canada. Currently, he's serving as a research consultant for the intellectual property at Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, USA, and he also serves as an advisor for several academic institutions and various biotech companies world over. So as our dear Bhagwan states that no matter how many degrees and certificates one holds, you should have the human values practiced and always be grounded. So true to Bhagwan's words, Dr. Polisetty has those values in him and not forgotten to give back to the society, in spite of his high list of degrees and certificates to his hat. So he has the fortunate of completing his schooling from 1979 to 1987 from Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai's Vidya Vihar in Hyderabad. So he's a Hyderabadi like me. He's also served as a cardiac surgeon in Sri Satya Sai Super Specialty Hospital in Puttaparthi in late 1990s. He also served in mid-1990s as the president of Sri Satya Sai organization in Russia and Belarus. Dr. Polisetty Ayurvedic research was being started off when he was doing his schooling time. He was so much, got into the Ayurvedic and the spiritual stuff of Vedic learning that he successfully, as an Ayurvedic research, he successfully demonstrated an innovative approach to treating end-stage diseases for which he's completed the symptom and the disease remission in 63% of cases, got a recognition and a prestigious award from the evaluation team of Pradhan Mantri Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana, and he received from the governor of Maharashtra on the 29th of December last year. In 2023 itself, he received several Indian and international awards, and furthermore, to add to his hat, waiting for that in this year too. Hope he has a very good year of 2024 with Bhagwan's grace. In spite of having all this to his hat, he never ever, or he always contributes everything to the grace of Bhagwan. And that's grounded which I was talking about, and his unwavering commitment to fulfilling Swami's command, showcasing the remarkable path he has embarked upon. So this is all about, in a nutshell, about Dr. Polisetty. So with no further ado, I would request Dr. Polisetty to take over and talk about or give us his talk to us. Sairam, Dr. Brother.
Oh, sorry. Sairam Prashanti ji, Sairam Raghavendra ji, and all my dear brothers and sisters of Sai organization of the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It was, that's too much of an introduction for anyone to actually digest. I would say that it's all command of Swami that, really pushed me to do whatever I did. It's not me. I know completely true. If I were there, if I had done it, uh, everything would have gone downhill, you know. It was Swami. I pretty much, you know, he makes sure that at every instance, he makes sure that, you know, it is Swami and not me, because I tell you, everything in my life failed, but ultimately his work succeeded. So we are wherever we are right now. You know, I just know every time I go to some kind of meeting or uh, presentation, or even, you know, whatever I talk, I I tell Swami, it is you who are doing, and it's. I told you just now that, you know, it's whatever I plan fails, but ultimately the event becomes a success. You know, that's that's how Swami makes sure that, you know, um, that we are grounded, not because I'm a very humble person, but because he made me humble. There was no other way that I could have been. So thank you very much for, you know, for inviting me here, and you know, sharing those few beautiful moments with Swami, and how those moments, Swami helped me continuously live with them. And then, you know, and what happens when you live with those moments with Swami. I'll definitely share the, you know, so now, interestingly, you know, it keeps occurring to me. See, when your decision becomes God will, or God will becomes your decision, they both meet. That is moksha, pretty much, you know. So you're not there. Like, everything is his thought. So it so happened that, when I was a child, you know, I always used to think, you know, I don't know, some of those megalomaniac possibly features were there. I used to think, you know, I've come to save the earth, and those thoughts of grandeur used to come. Then later in psychiatry, I realized that these are, like, you know, delusions of grandeur, and it's a psychiatric disease. So, but Swami successfully treated it. You know, because, you know, all those, when Swami asked me, I remember that interview clearly well. That was on the 5th of September 1998 at 3 o'clock. Swami mentioned clearly, Ravi, నువ్వు బయటికి వెళ్ళాలిరా, you should go out. That is me. I immediately, that one stuck. I mean, I was working as a screening cardiologist there, and it immediately occurred, man, maybe I did something wrong. Swami is sending me back. So I pleaded with Swami, Swami, please, if I did a mistake, if I we can only commit mistakes. I know that. So I told them, Swami, if there is any mistakes, you have to forgive me, and then please allow me to be here, because I have no one. I don't want anyone, and I have no one, actually. So even my parents at that time died, and then they went to the Kailash Manasarovar and didn't return. That was the occasion when, you know, we Swami clearly made it. No, no, Ra, you should go out and do things. I said, Swami, those were my delusions some time ago, not anymore. I now know that, you know, I am here for moksha, and it's only that is the only thing that I'm here for. And if you give, I'll go anywhere. Then he said, no, you go, then I'll give. He said, so, you know, you cannot argue with Swami. And Swami really guided every moment. Every moment, you know, it's like been a it's life as, like, he made the life as a prasadam. That's what I would say. So where did it start? It's really interesting. You know, it all started interestingly with Swami. There was once, you know, Swami said, Swami was talking about the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You know, by which time I was already introduced. I was working there as a screening cardiologist, and Swami was talking about balancing these three things, and then that was what was Ayurveda mentioning about. And Swami was really clearly talking about, you know, Vata causes about 116, Vata aggravation causes about 169 diseases. Pitta causes about 252 diseases, and Kapha causes 360, 368 or 369 diseases. And all of the 711 diseases that we encounter are manifestation of aggravation of these three doshas. And once you balance them, you end up with health. And Swami was clearly clearly mentioning about Ayurveda, and then the thought came, then why didn't Swami start an Ayurvedic institution? Because naturally it comes, we are we have that monkey mind, it doesn't stop on what Swami says, it goes around. Part of the Vikshepa program that we entangle ourselves with, the Laya Vikshepa Kashaya Rasaswada I'm talking about. And Swami suddenly said, no, no, see, um, people told me that Ayurveda is not scientific. We cannot do unscientific practices. I was really, I said, Swami, so I mean, I wanted to ask him who were the people who advised you, Swami? You have advisors too. That's great. So, but that really intrigued me that Bhagavan goes by the standards that the world sets and takes us all from that level. He actually stoops down to our level to bring us up. That's really amazing. That's a beautiful lesson that Swami gave. And then in the course of my working there, I figured how interestingly Swami demonstrated to me the power of Ayurveda in a couple of patients who had no other, we could not do an operation for various reasons. And um, Swami then, like we stumbled upon, I had to take up that case, and then we were trying to work with whatever methods that are available in alternative and Ayurvedic medicine. And then, interestingly, the patient was inoperable. We could not operate him at all. But inoperable patient, he started walking normally in about 4 to 6 weeks. In 4 to 6 weeks, he started walking and normally as if nothing happened with his heart. And then 6 months later, when we did an angiogram, it was completely cleaned up. All the plaques were cleaned up. It was amazing. And then his heart function also went up. And then interestingly, Swami, because Swami had always been saying that you should go out and do what I should do, he never mentioned. But then he had been suggesting, because gurus work that way. They don't usually ask you to do something. They make sure that they build the environment in such a way that you understand what you should do, and you go by your gut, you go by your own, it becomes, you own up his mission, and then that's what happened possibly. But then we have this the we always are confused. Swami also talks about continuously the intuition, the voice from the heart, from the atma comes, but then your voice again from the chitta vrittis pop up in the form of your thoughts, and you clearly can't figure out which one is the right, and then you end up with this tug of war. So that was a beautiful day, 23rd of November, 1999, and then I mean our beloved late Prime Minister ji and everyone were there. Swami already went inside. Swami already went into the into the breakfast for the breakfast, and along with the dignitaries, and there were several people there. I was sitting in the veranda, and then uh, I mean, during those days, I already before that day, I already not decided. Uh, I understood kind of Swami's suggestion, and then wanted to work on Ayurveda. So I only said, Swami, in 15 minutes, sorry, 15 seconds, because Swami already went in. The darshan was over. Swami was with the dignitaries having his breakfast. I mean, he was whatever he was doing inside. And said, Swami, in 15 seconds, uh, if you give me laddu, then because usually laddus are given after the bhajan, right? On the Swami's 23rd November, on the Swami's incarnation day. And I only said, Swami, if you really want me to do, if what I thought is right, because I already kind of, came to the conclusion that I should dedicate my life on Ayurvedic translational research, and then, try to bring this into the mainstream. But that's a big task, neither I had direction nor I had I only had conviction. I mean, not even conviction. I just had blind belief in our rishis, and whatever comes out of Vedas is like, really God sent. And the rishis were, I mean, such beautiful and simple individuals. And see the power of rishis that they had. When Vishwamitra walked in, I mean, not even walked into Ayodhya, but he just was on the when his Gudacharis or the spies of Dasharatha Maharaj gave the news to Dasharatha Maharaj ki Vishwamitra Maharshi is actually on his way to the kingdom. The kings were so humble. He went all the way to bring Vishwamitra, from the. I mean, they were so powerful that the kings used to tremble. "Arey, Vishwamitra aa gaya." I mean, Maharshi Vishwamitra is coming. What is it that he might need? How will I be able to do the appropriate service to him with the questions that these rishis, I mean, the kings used to have. So such powerful but yet humble rishis gave us such great samhitas. After samhitas is a scripture that is translated version of the darshanas through evidence-based medicine. I mean, evidence-based experimentation. If you translate the Vedas, apply them into treating a disease, you end up with a samhita called the Charaka Samhita, Ashtanga Hridayam, and several other samhitas. If the same Ayurveda, I mean, if the same Vedic knowledge, it's translated into applying into surgical remedies, then it becomes Sushruta Samhita. So Samhitas are all the compendiums of the Vedic knowledge, Vedic science, translated into certain uh, abstracts of abstract scientific literature that was applied for treating or for solving the problems of those times. Scientific documents they were. So rishis did a lot of experiments to give this samhitas. Why am I saying that rishis had this, scientific discussions? Because in this Charaka Samhita itself, it mentions that, the first chapter deals with the congregation of several rishis, several scientists of those times coming together, discussing about various methods that they adapted to treat several diseases. And I mean, that's like our scientific congresses that happen. So I only said that if it is right, if what I'm thinking, Swami, is right, then you should come within 15 seconds and give me a laddu. And I know that is impossible because I wanted to make sure that Swami really wanted me to do this. You know what happened in suddenly I saw from the VIP gate, a student was carrying a basket full of laddus, and in about 9 to 10 seconds, he already almost approached the veranda and to the interview room. 12th second, Swami comes out of the room, interview room. He takes one laddu. He throws the laddu and it falls. I didn't even try to catch it. It just fell in my hands. In 15 seconds is what at the time that I gave. Swami, oh my God, his ways are, everything is he makes sure that everything is on the edge always when you want to do his work and when you want to um, dedicate, he will, I mean, he's definitely on one hand, he's completely compassionate, on the other hand, he's completely unforgiving. So he makes sure that you learn things that he wants you to learn and excel in every aspect, and he makes sure that you fail in everything, but then he succeeds again through you. So that's how it all started. Then several things happened, but then to bring back to the original story, this Ayurveda, friends, is a very interesting science. Now, all the more, when I started off, reading Ayurveda, that was a different experience. But then when I started applying, even though I was able to generate data, the ecosystem was not ripe enough. There were people who used to say, आप डॉक्टर हैं, आप सर्जन है ना डॉक्टर साहब, आप सर्जरी कर लीजिए, आयुर्वेद के लिए क्यों कर रहे हो? हम खुद आयुर्वेद के लिए कुछ नहीं करना चाहते हैं. Even we don't want to do anything for Ayurveda. But the kind of people we were actually dealing with at those times, we were talking about. I said, okay, that's good then. Swami chosen only me to kind of work on Ayurveda, I thought, and I continued with the work. But then, friends, it was always, I always used to think. I again recollect, Swami saying this in the interview room on the 19th of June, 1996. I remember Swami said, I'll make sure that you work what I want you to work on. And it always happened. I plan something, all the plans get foiled up. Swami's plan only prevails. And then you in the hindsight realize that it was such a beautiful plan. We think, oh, यहाँ पे इतना corruption है, there's so many bad people around you, even and you're fighting them. Then it it uh, it is actually, Swami's beautiful view here to make sure that you excel in spirituality. That's very, very important. And then this great science, I wanted to share some beautiful aspects of Ayurveda, friends, and then we'll keep navigating between what Swami said and what Ayurveda talks is really very, very interesting. Maybe, we'll make it more interactive after maybe 20-25 minutes, so that, if because that's medicine is a subject, and along with machine learning and data science, it's my forte. So I'd love to take questions. It'll be more interactive. So, friends, it's like this. So what happens is, see, so every person, I don't know where to start. Okay, let me start from this. So every person has this chitta vrittis. The vrittis in general, again, what is yoga? Yoga means you become one with God. The sayujam, the real sayujam is yoga. Yoga is the connection that you establish with God. Now, how do you do that? By Patanjali Yoga Sutras, chapter 1, second aphorism, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. All right, chitta, the vrittis of the chittas are those deep-seated impressions of all of our past lives. They go deep into the subconscious mind, the chitta. And then, physically, the chitta should be correlated to a certain region in the brain, a certain anatomical structure in the brain, which is called as the limbic system. Because that's where, we did those experiments. That's why I know exactly when you elicit certain structures, certain deeper structures in that system, limbic system, people recollect those things that they didn't do in that particular life. So that's why this was done in Russia, and beautiful experiments were done to establish that the subconscious, the deep-seated impressions of all of the past lives are in the subconscious mind, are physically also stored in a certain structure called as the limbic system. Now, broadly classifying, without going deep into Vedanta, the chitta vrittis could be classified into vasanas and samskaras. All right, people with samskaras. Samskaras are people like, you get up in the morning in the Brahma Muhurta, take a shower, and then, do your prayers, do your Sandhya Vandanam, Anushtana, and then, that samskara is something that leads you towards God. Again, let me cite, because without, my interpretations, it's clearly mentioned, Paropakaraya punyaya, papaya parapetanam. There's a very simple thing. Okay, help our hurt never is something that Swami translated. But then apply deeper Sanskrit syntax and Sanskrit Navavyakarana grammar rules. Para upakara, that para, the paratattva, the nirguna nirakara parabrahma tattva is para. The word para stands for that. Upa is beside, that which takes you nearer. Upkara, kara is that force that is driving you. So para upakara, which means that force, that or that action that takes you nearer to the Nirguna Nirakara Parabrahma Tattva, not the Sakara. I mean, not Sakara. I mean, it takes you ultimately, Advaita is the final stage, isn't it? So that state, that action that leads you closer to the Paratattva is Paropakara. And that is Punya. All right, if you indulge yourself in a Punya Karya, you you essentially end up with samskaras. So papaya parapidanam. Papaya. Papa means para. Again the same nirgun nirakara parabrahma tattva. Pida, according to the Kasha Krutsna grammar, means a division. I mean, the mathematical function called addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, it's a division. So if you're divide, if which means again separation. When whatever action that separates you from God is papa, is from the paratattva. So that's why that journey which starts with Dvaita, in which we do all the anushtanas, will have to end with Advaita ultimately in Aham Brahmasmi. Okay, Aham Brahmasmi is again not a Mula mantra. It's not even to be chanted. It's to be experienced. Not me, but Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya clearly mentions. He mentions Advaitam Trishulokeshu Na Advaitam Guruna Saha Bhavadvaitam Sada Kuryat Kriya Advaitam Na Karichet. So what it means is Advaitam Trishu Lokeshu. We think that there are three worlds, but there's only Advaitam. There are not three worlds. So that's what he says. There are no three worlds, just Advaitam. There is not even second apart from the one Paratattva. In spite of that, na Advaitam Guru Nasa. In front of Guru, don't ever even utter any Advaitic phrases. That's what he says. Bhavadvaitam sada kuryat. Have the Advaita only on your thoughts. You can have that. You can experience Advaita only on your bhavas. And Kriya Advaitam na karichet. He clearly mentioned. That syntax is pretty much given. So in the Kriya, when you're acting, when you're in action, you can never you can never indulge in yourself in a Advaita. You always see yourself as a part of the continuum and part of the infinite, or infinite being a part of you. So when you separate yourself from the Paratattva, you are actually indulging yourself in a Papa karma, and that is leading to the Vasana strength. So the broadly classifying the Chittavrittis, I mean, of course, Pramana, Viparya, Kalya, Nidra, Smriti. I mean, I don't want to talk about that. I'm just trying to classify them, bring them into a simple version so that we understand. So these samskaras will always make sure that you indulge again in spiritual practices or indulge in punya karmas. Now, the problem here with either the punya karma or the papa karma is that you'll have to be to again redeem your karmas. You will again be born to accrue the merits of either punya karma or the demerits of the papa karma. Again, you'll have to be born. So what happens when you're born? So with say samskaras, you automatically, some point of time, you'll understand that this is a spiritual path that starts with Dvaita, transcends through, Visishtadvaita, and you end up with Advaita. But then what happens when you have accrued more of papa karma? That's where for those who have samskaras, they'll figure their way out to become or attain the savikalpa samadhi first, and then the nirvikalpa samadhi with the help of the gurus. They're already in their path. But then look at the grace of the rishis and the grace of Bhagavan through these rishis is they have clearly laid out a roadmap for the papis also. That's the beauty of the rishis. How? Look at this. We all know, we all have heard that purva janma krutam papam vyadhi rupena vashyati, right? So what it means is the papas of the purva janma or purva karmas translate into vyadhi. Now, when you have a vyadhi, what do? You go to a vaidya. All right. So when you go to a Vaidya, an Ayurvedic Vaidya, I mean, of course, all Vaidyas are Ayurvedic Vaidyas only if they are dealing with a certain way of dealing with the things. So what a Vaidya does is he essentially establishes the root cause of the disease. The root cause, of course, is in your past action, of course, but the past actions, if say for example, in our past life, I'm just trying to bring in another analogy so that we understand. So we have accrued some karma XYZ, and then there's some samskaras and vasanas together. We possibly, if we have, I mean, that's why we are here right now with Swami, because we have some unfinished work, of in the path of attaining moksha. So our all actions of the past translate into a certain uh, into chittavrittis, in these deep-seated impressions of the subconscious mind or the chitta, because chitta, we all know, is the part of the mano buddhi chitta hankara, part of the antakaranas. So it is only the physical body that we are actually renunciating in any life. Actually, to be very frank, friends, it in 7 years, each of the cell actually gets regenerated. Every cell, the body that we had 7 years ago is not what we have now. Because every cell is already, we have already left the older body 7 years ago. So when the body is no more viable for, carrying out any karma, that's when, we kind of leave the body and then take another body. Vasansi jirnan yada vihaya tatha dehantara prapti, already known to all of us. Bhagavan Krishna already mentions, how we take, we are actually moving from one body to another body, and we eternally are there because in the form of Atma, until Atma becomes one with Paramatma, actually they are not divided. It's just our prajna is, uh, prajna identifies ourselves with the physical body or the mental body, and then through the sadhana we elevate the prajna to identify itself with the atma, so that you become one with the god. So now this path is easy and pretty much automated for all the sadhakas, or even the people who are indulged in spiritual practices, or even those people who have a repository from their past lives of some certain samskaras. But what about the papis? Papaya parapedam is fine. And what happens is the purva janma kritam papam vyadhi rupena vashyate. So you end up with a vyadhi. Automatically, papis are people who, okay, who are also not bad people, but then they don't have much of the samskaras or the punya karma, so they end up with diseases. And what happens is they go to the vaidyas. So what does a vaidya do? A vaidya essentially identifies your, I mean, quantifies your vata pitta kapha. According to Ayurveda, what happens is, friends, what is health according to Ayurveda? It is not just about your blood glucose levels or blood cholesterol levels. Okay, just a quick detour into why only blood cholesterol or blood glucose levels might not give you a true picture of what you are and true picture of whether you're healthy or not. Also, I'll just quickly tell you. See, American Endocrinologists Association is saying that if you're diabetic, so India is unfortunately got the name of the diabetic capital of the world, with 18 crore people suffering from diabetes now. But there's a but here. The problem is, according to American Endocrinologists Association, friends, your HbA1c, which is the 3-month average, should be below 5.5. Okay. Now, according to the Diabetic Association, it should be below 6.5. Now, the American College of Physicians, and by the way, endocrinologists, the diabetologists, everyone has data. They're not just throwing up some numbers from thin air, just because they want to do that. Just like our WhatsApp University professors and also YouTube, great scientists from YouTube, they throw out these numbers. Don't go there, because, friends. So they have data, friends. It's because they have data. The endocrinologists have set this number at 5.5, diabetologists at 6.5. And interestingly, look at what is happening. The American College of Physicians, with a 3 million retro-analysis and a prospective study that they did, which is called as the ACCORD, ACCORD, they did this study, according to which They mentioned that your HbA1c should be between 7 and 8 and never below 6.5. And moreover, they say, okay, talk to your patient and personalize your blood glucose, I mean, blood glucose levels with your patient, personalize them. How do you personalize? They have not given any guideline. American College of Physicians issued their guidelines in 2019. Very controversial guidelines because they're contradicting the guidelines given by endocrinologists and diabetologists. With their data now, they can also, I mean, neither these diabetologists or endocrinologists can say anything about it because they're proactively saying that in a certain cohort of individuals who had diabetes and concomitant heart disease, you know what happened? 1 in 3 patients died when they were resorted to intense glucose lowering. So that's why they said don't ever target your HbA1c below 6.5. Now, Veterans Affairs Diabetic Association, with their Veterans Affairs diabetic trial, that's a famous VADT trial, you know what? They said this HbA1c at 8.5 and 9.5 also is doing good to them. 9.5, you know what it is? Average is 250. Your average is 250 and with fasting of 100, your blood glucose, the postprandial could go till 400 and Veterans Affairs diabetic trial demonstrated that that also is working good for those people. And in fact, these veterans aged between 50 and 78 years, they pretty much end up with hypoglycemic conditions if their HbA1c was targeted below 7. They suffered hypoglycemia. See, look, what is diabetes for a diabetologist is hypoglycemia for certain cohort of individuals. So now the question remains, according to who are you diabetic? Who is deciding and which standards are you going to, that's a big dilemma, friends. It's a big question that no one, if you don't know Ayurveda, you cannot answer. And by the way, Ayurveda again also is not herbal medicine, friends. I'll come to that a bit later because now people are talking about herbs. It's not just about herbal medicine, friends. It is unfortunately reduced only to herbal allopathy. It's not herbal allopathy. Diabetes, I mean, Ayurveda is a very advanced science of bringing VPK to a balance in all of the 7 tissues and 42 organs. I'll come to that a little bit after giving you some insights into cholesterol also. So we think, cholesterol is the biggest problem. There is something called as good cholesterol, something called as a bad cholesterol. Did you know that in a certain cohort, Malinsky et al., a cardiologist and immunologist, he retroanalyzed about 125,000 heart patients whose LDL was less than 100. And what he found? 75% of them ended up, not only their LDL, but triglycerides were targeted to maintain them below 100. You know what happened? 75% of them ended up with heart disease. Heart attack, not heart disease. Number one. Number two, there is another data coming in from a certain cohort that was investigated by the Danish Research Institute led by Abergom. Now, these guys, they analyze certain Caucasians, certain Northwestern Indians, certain Baluch, people from the Baluch, Sindh, the Punjab province, and Iraqis, Iranis, certain cohort around the Caucasians. They analyzed and they figured that they analyzed about 8,000 patients who had high HDL from this region, and 95% of them ended up with a heart attack with high HDL, above 70. And when they analyzed the plaque, you know what they found? They found the plaque contained HDL. So the HDL, which is supposed to be good cholesterol and should not be plaquing, has found to be plaquing actually in a certain cohort of individuals when it is above 60. That was the therapeutic standard that we are trained to maintain. So the problem here is whether your good cholesterol is always good and a bad cholesterol always bad, how do you maintain which level would suit you is a biggest problem. So with this context, friends, there are several other diseases that we treated, and then we have generated a lot of data in end-stage patients, and then based on that data, I'm speaking now. And we have published a lot of papers now and filed a lot of patents, friends. We talk about it. So the question is, the question is that according to who are you diabetic and what levels of cholesterol, HDL and LDL should you maintain so that you are healthy? And again, Dr. Elise Lichtenstein in her dietary guidelines advisory committee, she's the vice chair, and she presented to both NIH and the US FDA. She presented her findings of 35 years of retroanalysis of 35 million Americans, and she said dietary cholesterol is not a matter of concern for overconsumption. That's the guideline that she issued in front of these people, and then with the data. So there's no correlation again with your dietary intake of fat to heart disease, friends. How do you understand? So the solution is, again, if there is a solution, I was trying to figure out those days when I started off reading in 1992, and I found this beautiful definition from Ayurveda. Samadoshaha, samagnischa, samadhatumalakriya, prasanna atma indriyamanaha, swastya itya vidhiyate. So what it says is samadoshaha. There are three doshas in the body: the vata, the pitta, and the kapha. So when these three agents are in equal proportion in all of the seven tissues, according to Ayurveda, the entire body is classified into seven tissues: the rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda, asti, majja, shukra. They're called as the dhatus. And uh, we have 42 avayavas or 42 organs. And then the beauty is that when you eat food, we know that food gets digested in the gastrointestinal tract, and then the digested portion of the food gets into the blood, and the blood supplies nutrients to all parts of the body. That's where allopathy ends, actually. You know what? That's where Ayurveda begins its explanation. It says it's not that it's randomly supplies nutrients and doshas to individual tissues, but there's a preferential allotment: rasa, then rakta, then mamsa. The skeletal muscle and the muscles actually get nutrients in the next level. I mean, after the rakta dhatu, or the blood tissue gets satiated with the nutrients and the dosha, that's when the muscle tissue gets its supply. Then the meda, the fat tissue. Then the asti, the skeletal tissue. Then the majja. The majja dhatu is the bone marrow, the brain, and the spinal cord. Then the shukra dhatu. See, the beauty here is it's only after uh, the dosha, I mean the food gets percolated down to all the seven levels, that the shukra is also satiated. Shukra is for the reproductive tissue. That's the seventh level, seventh tissue. Then Ayurveda clearly mentions about something called as the ojas. Mangala Harati, Ojasriyo Sai Mahadeva, we sing, right? That ojas is a much more concentrated form of nutrient that gets enriched once the food percolates all the way down. The food, okay, in Ayurveda, food means your prana also is food. Prana is not just the breath that you take, it's also all the information through all the senses is prana, actually. So that slowly gets supplied to all of the seven tissues, and once they're satiated, then the food is supplied to the ojas, or ojas gets enriched. Then the ojas gives rise to certain bija kanas that again go in a retro fashion to shukra dhatu, then majja, then asti, and so on and so forth. These are possibly the immune cells. So the immune system is the one that gets enriched or produced after all the tissues get their nourishment. Then the immune system, or the mesenchymal stem cells, essentially, they go all into all of these tissues and then enrich them. That's what Ayurveda beautifully mentions. Uh, and then forms the ojas. From the ojas forms the tejas, then the divyas. So it's like a complete roadmap to how to become one with God. So where does it start? It starts from the samadosha. When all of these three doshas are in equal proportion in each of the seven tissues and 42 organs, what happens is the sama agnischa, all the agnis in the body. There are about 13 agnis, friends. Not about, there are 13 agnis in the body. Seven dhatu agnis, one agni, and then the five agnis related to pitta. In all, 13 agnis. Then they become appropriately nourished, and samadhatu dhatus also get appropriately nourished, and then malakriya, the excretory waste gets automated. You don't program to actually see. You don't program to excrete the waste. There is already a system. It's just that you don't have to. You should see what doshas are, what excessive dosha is blocking which system. That if you try to unblock that, or if you try to remove that excess, that vata aggravation or a pitta or a kapha aggravation, uh, if it is like and if it is found wherever it is found, once you bring about a balance, excretory waste gets automatically eliminated from the body. So which means in Ayurveda, mala also means a disease. The disease automatically gets eliminated from the body, and prasanna atma prasanna atma indriya manaha gets re-established. So prasanna atma. Look at this beautiful syntax, prasanna manas and prasanna indriyas. There is a clear-cut definition of what is prasanna atma, what is spiritual, what is spiritual health. Prasanna atma is that condition in Ayurveda. It gives 10 attributes. Compassion. You automatically become compassionate. You don't program yourself to become compassionate. You don't imbibe qualities of compassion. You don't have to. Because inside you're already compassionate, because Atma is all compassionate. It's again not compassionate because Atma and Paramatma are actually there no two entities actually. It's just one entity, and it is actually loving its own self. That's all it is in essence, right? So you become when once you the sama doshas are established, you become prasanna atma. You end up with prasanna atma, prasanna manas. So mental health is restored. Prasanna indriyas, again there are jnana indriyas and karma indriyas. With the karma indriyas, you end up with societal activity. Your social interaction becomes healthy. With the jnanendriyas, you end up with an emotional health. So your emotions become, you're automatically devoid of the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, and you end up with shama, dhamma, upariti, titiksha, shraddha, samadhana. It gets automated. You don't have to imbibe those qualities because they already are there. So it's about what is happening is when a and then what happens? The next beautiful word that our rishis have used for health, they've used the word of swasthya, not arogya, friends. Look, we talk about arogya and we think both are interchangeable. According to me, no. Not according to me, according to Sanskrit syntax. Again, Sanskrit, I talked about it several times, but I think, it merits one more, iteration. The Sanskrit language is a multi-syntax language, friends. That's why it's called as a Nava Vyakarana Bhasha by Swami Nanada. And we all heard that Lord Hanuman was a Nava Vyakarana Veda. He knew all the 9 grammars of Sanskrit. See, in Telugu, for example, Telugu, because that's the language I speak. So, Chanda Vyakaranam, all these grammar principles are outlined in this Chanda. There's 1600 grammar principles guiding the Chanda Vyakarana syntax of the Telugu language. Hindi is guided by 1700 grammar principles. Tamil by 1300, English by 970, plus a couple of tens of dozens of rules have got added up. But the key here is Sanskritam is a language which has about more than 200,000 grammar principles classified into 9 different libraries of syntax. And these are Indram, Aindram, Andram, Shakalam, Shakadayanam, Kashakrutsam, Kaumarakam, Paniniyam, and Saraswatam. So these 9 libraries, why are they important, friends? Is because these each matra in Sanskritam would have 9 meanings, deriving their meanings from each of the 9 different grammars. If a word has two matras, then you end up with 9 to the power of 281 meanings. That's how powerful this language is in communicating. And it's so easy to, if you know the grammar language, grammars, it's easy to, because it's, rishis were very confused people. They didn't want to spend more energy on anything that is irrelevant. That's why Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya clearly mentions, Eka matra lagavante, putrotsaham manyante, vayakaranaha, he says. Eka matra lagavante means, even if you reduce your communication by 1 matra and still communicate effectively, then the rishis, Vayakarna, the Vyakarana rishis, Vayakarna again means a Brahmagyani. Brahmagyani becomes happy, he becomes as happy as if a putra is born. Putrotsaham manyante vyakarana. They enjoy the happiness as if a putra is born. Again, putra doesn't mean a male or a female, masculine or feminine friends. Again, there is a syntax for putra. Every word has a syntax, and the syntax is punnam trayate iti putra. So that putra is your offspring, or he could be anyone who helps you overcome the naraka, which is called as a punnama naraka. Because that's the essential naraka that everyone has to pass through, according to the Garuda Purana. And punnam trayate, that putra is called as putra only when he is able to help parents over bypass that particular naraka, and then help them attain moksha. That's how happy these rishis will become, it seems, if you are able to communicate effectively by even reducing one matra. So such rishis have used the word of swasthya, not arogya, friends. Because arogya, again, the syntax, again, applying from the Sanskrit language, roga abhasaha iti arogya. Roga abhasa means absence of disease, arogya. But swasthya means swasthanam shirite iti swasthya. With your Thula Sukshma Karana Shirira, swasthanam. Swa means Atma. That which takes you to the original Atmic state is swasthya. So when does it happen? When samadosha in all of the seven tissues and 42 organs is attained, you essentially end up with physical health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional, social, and spiritual health, and you get to the state of being one with the God forever. That is what is Ayurveda, friends, beautifully. That is what our rishis have always tried for. Even if you see, if you're not that every deceased person is a papi. I mean, papa doesn't have that bad import, friends. That's what I wanted to say. It's just a condition in which you are guided to a Vaidya who essentially knows the technique of detecting the imbalances in your body, imbalances in the form of the Vata Pitta Kapha, and then by giving appropriate foods. Look at what, again, what is yoga? I know you all know Bhagavan Krishna discussed elaborately with Arjuna just before the war. He clearly mentions Tasmad Yogi Bhavarjuna, he says. He tells about the merits of yoga, Sukha Samekruta, Labha Labha, Jaya Jaya, Santushta Satatam Yoga. I mean, he mentioned all of these shlokas and then mentioned that hence for Arjuna, in Sukha and Dukkha, you experience equanimity. You're happy, be happy in Sukha and be happy in Dukkha also. Be happy in Labha and Alabha also. Because Santushta Satatam Yogi, a yogi is always happy. Come what may, whatever happens. Uh, so if you maintain that equanimity of being extremely happy always, then you are called as a yogi, and hence you become a yogi, Arjuna. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna is what Bhagavan Krishna mentions to Arjuna in the chapter 6 again. Then Arjuna asks, so what is the simplest way, Swami, to become a yogi? He says, very simple. Yukta ahara viharascha, yukta cheshtascha karmashu. He says, yukta ahara. What is yukta? See, we all translate yukta as some good food and bad food. Friends, it's not about good or bad food. Because Annam Brahma is already defined, right, in the fourth chapter, right? Brahma, Arpanam Brahma, we all have known, and we learned it by rote, and we know that Annam itself is Brahma. Now, how can there be good food and bad food? Isn't it? If Annam itself is Brahma, you cannot classify foods into good foods or bad foods. It is that food that is appropriate to you. Right. So that is why the word yukta is used and not suahara or durahara. Otherwise, the yogis would have used a different word. Lord Krishna used the word yukta ahara. Yukta ahara, then yukta vihara. Vihara is your lifestyle, appropriate lifestyle. If you are Prime Minister Modi, then sleep only for 2 hours. If we sleep for 2 hours, then we know what are the repercussions, right? Because that is yukta vihara for him, not for everyone. Because there's again a syntax. Again, if you have kapha aggravation, then make sure that you pacify kapha by aggravating your sympathetic nervous system. If you have too much of vata, then aggravate your kapha, or balance vata by your parasympathetic activation, by the appropriate elicitation of your parasympathetic nervous system or the Chandra Bhedi, Chandra Nadi. So that is appropriate. So what is appropriate for one person is not appropriate for anyone else. So every one is unique because every one's VPK is called as a Vata Pitta Kapha fingerprint of individual, which involves the imbalances of Vata Pitta Kapha in all the 7 tissues and 42 organs are completely different because everyone comes with his own prarabdha. With prarabdha, sanchita, and agami, right? We know the 3 types of karmic, translations that we have. The prarabdha is that karma that we have decided just before taking the birth to be done with in this life. That is prarabdha. That which is done in the past is sanchita. Then in the future, whatever we are planning, if at all, if there's too much of karma, if there are too many desires, friends. Desires are like the C++ language. They go in a certain order. You wanted 1, 2, 3, 4. All the 1, 2, 3, 4 will happen. Everything will happen because ultimately it is. I mean, there is no one other than God Himself. We ourselves are, in the true sense, in the original Atma. Even if you look logically, look at this. All the Pancha Koshas and all the Stula Sukshma Karana Shariras are Jada Swarupa, isn't it? According to Vedanta Panchadashi and also the Viveka Chudamani, they are all Jadas, which means your Aham or Ahankara doesn't have its own, power to act. It is power to act or power to come into existence. It comes into existence because the manas is powered by the buddhi is powered by the chitta is powered by the chitta vrittis. The chitta vrittis are all have a platform of ahankara. There's a difference between ahankara and aham. Ahankara is simple, is that platform that gives existence for the chitta with vrittis. That is ahankara. The chitta devoid of vrittis is aham. That's why aham brahmasmi is said. Why is not ahankara is brahmasmi? No, ahankara is all with those chitta vrittis. So you have load of that, all the impressions of all the past lives, and then that translates into chitta vrittis. And the chitta vrittis, okay, what is it that gives us the state of sayujya or nirvikalpa samadhi? Yoga, right? Yoga, we said yoga is a connection. How do you end up with yoga? Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. See, the entire pursuit is to actually get rid of these chitta vrittis because these are the ones that are popping up in terms of popping up messages into the mind, and then they're surfacing and they're powered. Actually, if you don't, they also are powered by the Atma because neither the chitta nor the vrittis nor the buddhi nor the aham or mama or the manas have their own power. They're all powered by Atma. If you route the Atmic power through the Ahankara, through Chittavrittis, you're essentially, you're using the Atmic power to, not Atmic power, that's not right to say, but then I'm trying to explain whatever I understood in language that we'll be able to relate to. So the Atma power is being used to power all these Jada Padarthas and they come into existence. So our duty is to actually not do anything. That is the state. So how do we arrive at that state is beautifully explained by our Ayurvedic Vaidyas, the great Charaka Maharshi, Sushruta Maharshi. They all agreed that it is a samadosha that brings about. And when you bring about samadosha, what happens is, see, the chittavrittis translate into thought. The thought translates into action. Action into, we all know that action into habit. A repeated action becomes a habit. A habit sustained over a certain period of time becomes your character. The character at the time of death becomes your personality. And the personality personality at the time of birth becomes your chittavrittis. So until and unless you're done away with your chittavrittis, you cannot get moksha. You cannot become one with the God because that's the ultimate purpose. That's the only way you live with God. And here, what is happening? Anyone who has a disease automatically goes to a Vaidya. Vaidya, by identifying your Ayurvedic Vaidya, by identifying your appropriate exact proportions of Vata, Pitta, Kaphas, and helping you at apply the principles of Yukta Ahara, Yukta Vihara, and Yukta Cheshta. Of course, Yukta Cheshta is something that we have to do using our own buddhi, friends. Yukta Cheshta is the right or appropriate action. Appropriate action is, I would say, following traffic rules, for example, is an appropriate action because we have decided that we would have a certain set of rules and then we respect each other by respecting these rules that we have written in our constitution. That will also be a part of your health program, essentially. That's how Rishis, by bringing this idea uh, of bringing your VPK into balance, they have created an entire roadmap for our moksha, friends. That's the beauty of this science, Ayurveda, friends. That's why I like this, because by just appropriately titrating your foods that suit you, not suit you, that bring about a VPK balance, those yogasanas that bring about a VPK balance, those pranayama, the pranayamas that bring about a VPK balance in all of the 7 tissues and 42 organs, you're guided appropriately by the Vaidyas to attain swasthya or health. I mean, health at every level, the physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual well-being, friends. That's what I figured in my life, friends. And I tell you, this really works. At the first level, the physical level, the diseases are gone. I mean, by God's grace, friends, I tell you, there is no disease we weren't able to cure. By the treat, not treat only, but there was no disease we weren't able to cure, actually. Not we, it is the power of this science that has helped us help people. I tell you, we treat only end stage patients. That's what we have taken up because I'm a scientific person. I mean, scientific person is uh, because I'm a trained allopathic doctor. I'm a cardiac surgeon. I cannot violate any scientific guidelines. So when a patient comes to me, I see if he fits into the fits into the exclusion and inclusion criteria as devised by the scientific congresses. If he fits, I ask him to go back to his GP, I mean general practitioner or his specialist, and only after his specialist agrees that we try work together. Because that's why I chose target only end stage patients and those functional cases. Functional patients are those patients who have certain set of symptoms for which there are no, I mean, you don't find anything tangible in the battery of tests that the doctors run. When you do all the tests, say, for example, someone says, I have some palpitations. They do electrophysiology of the heart, and everything is normal. There's a sinus rhythm, EKG is normal. Your, electrical conductivity is good. They do every other test, troponins, everything comes normal. But the patient experiences these functional symptoms. So in those cases, we do definitely, I recommend, certain VPK balancing therapies. But in end stage, by God's grace, friends, and I tell you, I didn't expect it. And when I started off, you know what I started off? Okay, Swami wanted me to do this. I'll do this for Swami's sake because otherwise I won't get moksha. That was the purpose. Because I said, Swami, give me moksha. I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll do whatever you want me to. He said, no, you do this and I'll give you moksha. It was like, you cannot argue with Swami anyway. So I went, but I figured out, friends, this is the beauty of this, adherence to the Samhita-based knowledge and trying to, translate that knowledge into, treating or, solving current day problems, friends. When you work with the Samhitas, friends, you are always with Swami. That's why I see continuously you are thinking about him. He thinks with you, he thinks in you and through you, you think with him. I mean, it's a continuous journey with Swami. I never felt that it was any time separated. Of course, I try my best to, do mistakes, but he tries his best not force me not to do, not to. And then he gives that confirmation every time. It's such a beautiful journey, friends, that Swami gave. And through this journey, friends, what I unraveled was, see, when you bring about a VPK balance, spontaneous regeneration of tissues is normal, friends. See, for example, and I remember that day when Swami came a little late for darshan. And he said, heart attack vachindra naku, he said. And of course, there are many people who make fun of his. They think he's telling some stories. Sometimes it does happen. Bhaktas, they are very emotional people. So sometimes they try. Bhaktas, very emotional people with no logic. When they try to think logically, they will fail there. So, so अरे कहाँ से हार्ट अटैक हो गया तो कैसे घूम रहे हैं स्वामी ऐसा मतलब people keep thinking but then Swami said హార్ట్ అటాక్ వచ్చింది అందుకని కొంచెం లేట్ అయింది ఇప్పుడు బాగానే ఉన్నాను when we run battery of test ECG comes completely normal everything is normal but when you look into the actual process of what is happening inside Swami's body I mean with his grace and with his guidance I'm talking with full surrender to him what because I always thought that I always knew that every spiritual manifestation should have for example if you talk about Swami's miracle they should abide by the rules that Swami himself wrote at the time of creation isn't it so I said okay if those are the rules uh, if heart attack happens why does then scar tissue form was the question that I had and then why doesn't scar tissue form in Swami so what happens, friends? What I realized was, theoretically first, it was in the year 2002, I was thinking, I came out, it was already 2 years, 2.5 years, I was thinking about Swami said, okay, in 2 hours, it took, Swami once said it happened at 4:30 and then, no, it happened at 3:30 in the morning. And that's why he came for darshan half an hour, 1 hour late at 7:30. So I said, okay, in 4 hours, Swami cured his heart attack. I mean, it's not cured because he doesn't do anything for himself because he's not as selfish as we are. So he doesn't do anything actually. I mean, he does everything, but he doesn't do anything. So when you leave things as they are, because the natural mechanism, see, when we eat food, do we program our stomach to produce, oh, itna khaya main, I mean, I ate so much of food, so we have to produce so much of acid? We don't think like that. We don't have to think, we don't have to force the body to perform naturally, its physiological function. You don't have to program, you don't have to push. It is natural. It's just whatever is in excess, whatever doshas are in excess, the vata or the pitta or kapha have to be identified. They are actually blocking the natural functioning of the body. And natural functioning of the body, you know what, is spontaneous regeneration, friends. That's what I figured in my life. That's what these are the experiments that we did. And we pretty much, we're already past, I'm sorry.
Yeah, brother, yeah, there are some questions coming in. Do you like to take the first question?
I'll just finish the thought and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
So what we did was, when we fed these animals, when we did a lot of experiments on heart attacks, those are the first experiments that I did. We created heart attacks in experimental animals, and by feeding these animals with appropriate food that bring about a balance of VPK balance in the heart. How do I know? That syntax is already given in Ayurveda, friends. The Samanavata, Sadhaka Pitta, and Avalambaka Kapha should be in 1:1:1 proportion in the heart. Once it is there, heart will automatically and spontaneously get regenerated. And this is what we demonstrated, that when there is a VPK balance that we achieved through pre-feeding these animals with VPK balancing herbs and food, when we did that and then we cut off a certain artery that causes heart attack, you know what? Regeneration happened in just about 4 hours. So that's a very interesting finding that I found. I mean, several interesting things. What can I say? I mean, there's so much to say. But then what I figured out is, friends, physical health is actually none of our botheration. It is already there. It's just that we have to identify the right imbalances that are actually hurting us. When we bring about that balance, body automatically regenerates. We demonstrated regeneration of the brain, regeneration of the kidney, liver, pancreas, you name it, we did it. Not only did we experiment do this in experiments, but we translated it into the clinical bedside methodologies. And by God's grace, there's no disease, autoimmune disorders, we name it, we cured it. End stage cancers, Those who are given only 2 to 3 months to live are living over 5 years now with this VPK balancing technologies. Brain dead patients came back with brain regeneration. When that was seen by their doctors, neurologists, they got a heart attack. कि ऐसा कैसा होगा? so, so by God's grace, friends, this is what I wanted to quickly share. I mean, there's so much to share, but yeah, of course, there's always less time when you talk about Swami's Leelas. He made me see the world in a way that everything is actually divine, friends. Everything is absolutely divine. There's nothing anatomic at all. There cannot be, right? If Advaitam Trishulokeshu, there's only Advaita, there's only God actually. And it's just that if we remove our own excesses of anything, everything is automatically divine. You don't have to do anything, really, friends. It heals everything. It's just that, COVID showed us, right? Did we go clean Mother Ganga? No, we didn't clean. In 1 month, everything got cleaned. We didn't interfere. See, it is non-interference with our mind that actually cleans up everything, friends. So that is what, what, if you think, oh, Ashtanga, I'm not Ashtanga, this, what is it? Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga, my God, I should start with, Yama Niyamas, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, I mean, Yama Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, then Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. How will you get Samadhi? Because first step is, Yama Niyamas. The Yamas are Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigara, Brahmacharya. Then you continue with Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishwara, Pranidhana. I mean, it's such a complicated thing. This complicated thing is automated by our rishis in the form of Ayurveda, friends. The key here is the VPK, appropriate diagnosis. And then, by Swami's grace, I don't know when it all happened, but happened. I came up with this device also. We just came from a CES show, friends. I think the first of its kind, the biggest booth that we set up. And the juries were also mentioning that, and several people came and said, we didn't see such a big booth set up in the CES by any Indian. I said, with Swami, everything will be much more bigger. But that was very small, according to me. So with that, we came up with this device actually, that will actually do your VPK42 fingerprinting, and then gives you appropriate, remedies in the form of appropriate diet, appropriate exercises, appropriate yogasanas, appropriate, it's really wonderful, friends. I mean, I never knew that I would be able to do this. I just kept on reading. That's what my guru told me always, whenever you have a chance, just keep reading. And today I see, Swami made me write about 72 hidden layers in a convoluted neural network, friends. That's an advanced form of machine learning algorithm. And when I look back, oh my God, this would have been possible only with the collaboration of at least 1,000 data scientists, 1,000 Ayurvedic researchers of top-notch, 1,000 people from, and it all. I know it all. Swami made this happen, and I think I'll just pause here. I have no words now because it's all really great journey that Swami gave, and I went out of Puttaparthi, but Swami never left me, friends. He's always, he always promised us, right? He's above us, below us, beside us, in front and back. Really, friends, he's always with us. It's just that we should not meddle. That is what is meditation is. Not meddling with your thoughts is meditation. Let them go, but don't follow the thoughts. That's all. Don't give. Swami, there was once in the Trai sessions, one of the students were asking, Swami, when I sit in meditation, Swami, a lot of thoughts keep coming. He said, let the thoughts keep coming. Don't surrender your body to thoughts. That's what Swami said. So friends, this is a beautiful journey that Swami gave, and I wanted to quickly share. And thank you very much for helping me share this satsanga. And I'm here to take further questions. Sorry about it.
Sairam, brother. Couple of questions. The first question is, can you please talk about few of the unique patient cases, there may be thousands, which are given up by allopathy, patient in hospice condition, who are brought back to good health by Ayurveda, for example, cancer patients. Also, a follow-up question to this. Also, can you give a unique Sai experience from Russia?
Yeah, several Sai experiences from Russia. So let me talk about the diseases first. There were not one or two or three or there are 28,000 end-stage patients, friends. All my life I'd been treating only end-stage patients. And you know what? And in Russia, I used to, I keep telling, I was born in India, but made in Russia, Fritz. That's how. And you know how crazy are Russians. You have seen what they did to Ukraine just because Ukraine wanted to get into NATO. That's how crazy they are. Because they said, like, Ukraine, you are my brother. If necessary, I will kill you. You cannot live with Americans. That's what Russians. Okay, anyway, I respect that also. But I understand them with their psyche and with the brilliant people, friends. Advanced mathematics and advanced mathematical biology, and they are one of the finest scientists of the world, friends. So I keep going there even now. Every time immigration officers keep asking, "Why did you go to Russia?" I said, "Sir, doctors are without borders." I keep telling them every time. Then they let me go. So. That's my unique experience in Russia. But several end stage patients, friends, you know how I used to practice initially. See, initially I only had the enthusiasm to do what I felt and strongly knew that Swami wanted me to do. Number one, I wanted to practice Ayurveda in its original form, and because I saw Ayurveda was being practiced as herbal allopathy and not Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the science of this VPK balance. So you know what I used to do when I see a heart failed patient? I used to write agreements, friends. And I'm not joking. This is exactly what used to happen. I used to write agreements with these patients that if I don't cure your heart, you can take away my heart and my kidney and my liver and my bone marrow, everything and anything. And by God's grace, all my organs are with me. I've not become their Ukraine. I remained Ravishankar Polisetty, and there are several patients that we, by God's grace and by appropriate application of scientific, polyscientific Ayurveda, I call it as, I was able to, help several patients, end stage patients. There was one lady, and I can't name anyone, but then a 64-year-old lady who came to us with breast cancer in 2019. No, 2018. Naturally, what happens is when you see a doctor, uh, a cardiac surgeon practicing Ayurveda, they know that you're mad. They don't think, they know you're mad. So you I mean, because you left some great medicine. So I let them think like that, because that way they are also helping me with my karma. But then I usually tell them, go do whatever you have to do with your with medicine, because I don't take patients, but because I saw the futility of trying to convince, it's not right also scientifically, statistically, without data you cannot say some that your method is better than allopathic or whatever method is that is being invoked. So this lady came to me. I explained her the condition. There's a orientation session that we do usually. In that session, we are given to we give patients to understand what is health, what is not health, what is Ayurveda, what is not Ayurveda, and all. And then she went through the session. She said, "Doctor, I cannot follow the dietary procedure." I said, "See, it's up to you." And then she went back. She tried. She underwent a mastectomy, and she underwent about 6 cycles of chemotherapy. For 6 months, it was good. Again, it relapsed. When it relapsed, none of the monoclonal antibodies worked in her. And then trastuzumab was tried, and then she tried at least three monoclonal antibodies. She spent more than 2 crores. And then 2021. May she came back to me because she was told that she'll be alive only for the next 2 months, 2 to 3 months. I said that is good, but I saw that her immune system, nadi, I did the nadi pariksha. I said your immune system is extremely sluggish. There was extreme kapha aggravation. Uh, Extreme aggravation of kapha in the immune system. The immune system was like, I mean, I explained, each cancer patient or any disease patient is unique, friends. Everyone has a unique VPK fingerprint because everyone has unique chitta vritti, right? So that translates into a VPK fingerprint. So when you balance VPK, your chitta vrittis are also gone. That's why, you become one with God. Swasthya is re-established. So I explained her, you know what, 2 months ended. The doctor said she was feeling better. Then she came back again after 2 months, 4 months over. The doctor said, no, you'll die in the 6th month. So they had been hoping that she'd be dying, but she's still alive by God's grace without any problem now. She's done her PET scan, not just once, every time the PET scan comes completely clean. And then this lady goes on continuously. Not just this, friends, there was diabetic patients who are refractory. HbA1c goes to 10.8. And when I see it's a pitta mediated diabetes, you know what I do? Okay, this is like, don't try it, friends. Okay, another humble request that I heard, please don't go by YouTubers and WhatsApp university lectures, professors, friends. There are so many of them. We can learn everything but medicine from them, friends, please, because people are actually spoiling their health really. You know what? In our cohort, what we saw was 20 at least 29% of our kidney failed patients are are pitta aggravated individuals because of millets diets. Okay, I'm not against any diets, friends. Everything has to have a syntax of VPK. They followed millets diets in it. There's some patients who followed a keto diet end up with kidney failure. I'm not saying keto diets cause kidney failure. It's just that syntax that we are missing. If you're targeting if a keto diet is given to a kapha aggravated individuals, it will further aggravate kapha and he will end up with any of the organ failures, because any of the dosha excess could cause any damage to any heart. Again, which organ would get targeted is something that is decided by your own. There's something called as a vulnerability based on your prarabdha, or based on your VPK fingerprint. That vulnerability in Ayurveda is called as Kavai Gunyam. Based on the Kavai Gunya, organ could get, a disease could get manifested in a certain organ, and that has to be treated appropriately, balancing the doshas. And I see that it has caused several damage. We're trying to, that's why, come up with a course so that in everyone, that original VPK understanding and how to diagnose in your home, because I believe that if this knowledge is given to every home, 70% of the diseases can be cured at home, friends. And everyone can be on the path of this liberation, literally. That's what Ayurveda sets yourself in your path to. It's a spiritual path, friends, not just path to your health. So not one friend's testimonial. There's another acute myeloid AML, acute myeloid lymphoma patient. Acute myeloid lymphoma, the current treatment is that they give dasatinib, and they could add up, a couple of other monoclonal antibodies. Each tablet costs you in India 8,000 rupees, and you have to take only one tablet for the next 2 years. One tablet per day, sorry. That's only about 72 lakh rupees, and it gives a maximum survival rate till 24 months. And our patients are surviving for more than 5 years, friends. AML patients, Hodgkin's lymphomas, non-Hodgkin's lymphomas, breast cancers, ovarian cancers, pancreatic cancers, HCC, hepatocellular carcinomas. So there are several cancers, end-stage patients we were able to help and restore the VPK balance. And then there are pathways, finally understood by us, and then we help. Scientific people need to understand at a much deeper level. So we give that insight also scientifically, and wherever possible, we do those tests to show them what's wrong. Because when I do a traditional Nadi Pariksha, the precision is mind-boggling because of the research that we did, friends. You can come up with blood biochemistry. That's why this device that we came up with, it gives you your blood biochemistry. Okay, I'm not saying it is 100% right. Even if it is 50% right, friends, this algorithm is very, very advanced. So that is about the treatment of patients. There's no autoimmune disorder that we weren't able to cure. Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, systemic lupus erythematosus, lupus, SLE it is called as, or lupus it is called as, lupus nephritis is also called as, multiple sclerosis, friends, scleroderma, friends, name it, by God's grace, we were able to help. Diabetes again, see, we really found the crux of diabetes, but I think, it's going to be too late if I start that discussion. It's going to be too much, but it suffices to say that when pitta is aggravated, friends, pitta aggravates your mitochondrial activity. The mitochondria are the ones which burn up your glucose. So pitta systems are burning up more glucose, and hence those people are very energetic. They end up with more, when glucose is burned, you end up with ATP, energy molecule, and they're more energetic. And when there is ATP is more inside the cell, it triggers certain metabolic pathways so that your blood glucose rises. So that condition should not be construed as diabetes, and not, it's not me who I'm saying. Our rishis have already classified them in the Charaka Samhita. It's called as prameha. There's one thing called madhumeha. You all must have heard about the word madhumeha. It's for diabetes. But apart from madhumeha, they also talked about pramehas. And they talk about vata pramehas, pitta pramehas, and kapha pramehas, and there are 20 of them. So which means they're talking about conditions in which your blood glucose could rise, could lead to, certain conditions, certain symptoms, that look like, polyuria, but it is not. This condition should not be construed. That condition of hyperglycemia, which should not be construed as diabetes, is called as prameha, friends. Of course, I'm not saying this has to be taken it as is. There's a lot of research that has to be done. But in our retro analysis of more than 6,000 plus patients, we were able to, help patients with pitta, people with pitta aggravation, friends. You know what happens? We give them more hyperglycemia, high glycemic indexed foods, friends, and they get better. The HbA1c levels fall down. But again, as I said, it has to be further. A lot of research has to be done. But I think, by God's grace, we were able to help people with this as well. In Russia, as I said, all my life, most of my first cases were, dealt with in Russia with Russians, and even several top people, even now come to Hyderabad to get treated, friends. That's about Russia. And then my stint with Russia did not start with medicine, friends. And of course, I started off with learning medicine, but then Swami, really interestingly, there was one Dr. Prahaladji. He used to continuously say, "Arey yaar, you're a doctor, your Swami's student." I studied in Satyasai school, but he used to motivate me. You're Swami student, you will always automatically do well. And then he used to motivate me. And then Swami made me instrumental in, in sharing Swami's Balavikas, those stories with several of my Russian friends. It's been wonderful, and every day was like a miracle, that we witnessed Swami's presence. Several. I think, I shared some of them earlier. There's too many of them, as Swami's devotee and also as Swami's Ayurvedic Vaidya. We were able to, help several people in Russia as well, friends.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. There are about 4 more questions, but we can group them. The one question is any suggestion from self-diagnosis? That's one. And the other associated question is, you spoke about the check for VPK, how to get the device? Is it available?
Right. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then pancreatic cancer, someone was asking. Okay, right.
Yeah, a couple of people are asking about your location. Where are you from, and how can they get the appointment?
So I'm based out of Hyderabad, friends, but we are planning, with the CES, we have launched our awareness campaigns in the United States. We are planning to, be here and then, make it big here. That's the idea. My Swami's grace, it just happened that, we did this event here in CES, and it really got a very good, very good traction. And we did a big event, if anyone wants to watch, there's a event that we did. It's called as the IPSA. Maybe we'll post that, it's on our website. IPSA conference, it's called as. And there was a 2-day workshop that we conducted where we showcased end-stage patients, the approach we applied, and then we demonstrated those testimonials, with several 10 in 12 different disciplines. We were able to, demonstrate that. So the VPK device that I'm right now, we have our Regis office in Princeton, New Jersey, and San Jose. But then I'm right now in Virginia, in Mr. Pradosh's home here, our Sai brother. And also I'm in Atlanta. I'm regularly going to, I'm planning to regularly be in Atlanta, Virginia, Princeton, New Jersey, and San Jose, friends. That's the plan. And how to get that? Yeah, we just opened this device for, okay, in the satsang, I didn't want to mention anything about this, but then we just opened it for pre-booking, friends. I'll not talk about this because Swami doesn't want this thing to be talked. You know, right? Swami is, yeah. So again, as I say, this device is really unique in the sense it detects your unique VPK fingerprint. It translates it into your blood biochemistry. Of course, it is going through certain clinical trials, friends, because whatever I'm going to present by Swami's grace to the world will be completely validated in a clinical trial. So otherwise, whatever is not scientific, I will not present, not because I want to do that, but because our rishis have already commanded us to do that. Our Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya mentions clearly, Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Akarya Vyavasthitau. He says, Tasmat, and hence Shastram, only Shastra or scientific evidence should be treated as an evidence for any Karya or Akarya. If you want to do a thing in a certain way, you have to have the Shastra Pramana, the scientific evidence. If you don't want to do, if you say, no, I don't want to do, where is the evidence? He's asking. It's not me. So following their commandments strictly, we're going to do clinical. We have already registered the trial. We got an approval to do the trial under the monitoring of the Indian FDA. And this device is going to go to, by Swami's grace, every house. Maybe that is what Swami wanted me to do. I don't know. But I see that this will really help, as I said, fix 70% of your problems at home. So the device is not available for purchase. We're opening a store only in the beginning of April, friends, both in India and the US, and it's going to come up very, very soon. But right now it is available for a pre-sale. The Kickstarter campaign will start once the clinical trial is done. It's right now available in the form of a consumer electronic wearable. Not available, it can be pre-booked as a consumer electronic wearable. I'll not talk much about it because that's not in the scope of this particular satsang, friends. I'm sorry. Pancreatic cancer, yes, this is where, by God's grace, if they do everything the way I detect based on the Nadi, and then give certain recommendations, if they're able to follow up, friends, definitely quality of life will be better. That's what I can say for sure. And so definitely, if I can, yeah, maybe Raghavendra ji or someone can coordinate, or I'll request Pradhash ji, or if Shailaja is here, Shailaja. Okay. Anyway, I'll leave this to the organizers. Please make sure that by God's grace, I need to be. This is my job. This is my job. So, friends, SLE, friends, as I said. While residing in the US, there should be, earlier, the people used to come to Hyderabad, but now, now that I'm coming here, and also the device is going to be available, it'll be easy for a remote patient monitoring as well. SLE, by God's grace, whatever I do, see, when I talk about my recruiting any new patient, we always, make sure that you talk to our earlier older patients with their reports, because that gives you confidence. That should be given. That's the only way we need to re-establish this science, friends. So definitely, Saroja Garu, please. This really will be helpful, but I'll be able to tell the prognosis only based on the Nadi Pariksha, friends. Okay. And end-stage pancreatic cancers in Virginia, absolutely, wherever, yeah, she doesn't have much time. That's what I'm saying, she's already looking to end palliative care, friends, Renu Ramesh ji, please reach out and let's start working together. Changes during one's lifetime, yes, Ranjesh ji, yes, it does change. That is why in Ayurveda it is called as, there's something called as Prakriti, is the VPK fingerprint that you are born with. All right, that is Prakriti. But then under the influence of external factors, environmental factors, it is called as the Rutu Prabhava, Dina Prabhava. That's why there is a Dinacharya and Rutucharya. All right, so that you don't get entangled under the influence of VPK of the Ritus, season, and diurnal or circadian variations. It does keep changing with the food that Swami already said this, right? Your food is one that decides all your thoughts. 99% of your mind is the food. So under the influence of the food, the VPK keeps changing. That is why the VPK at the moment, at the current moment, is called as the Vikriti. Ultimately, okay, there's a misconception. I think I could clear this here, so that we all are, because getting the right Ayurvedic knowledge is very important, because everyone is selling herbs thinking that that is Ayurveda. Selling herbs is only herbal medicine. Ayurveda is not just herbal medicine. Ayurveda is the science of this balance, VPK balance in all of the seven tissues and 42 organs. So it does change. So so if it changes, and Prakriti, again, as I said, see, the Prakriti of this life, the Prakriti, as I said, is the VPK fingerprint of an individual at the time of the birth. Where did he inherit from? He inherited exactly the VPK fingerprint at the time of the death of the earlier life, will continue as a Prakriti of this life. Pretty simple and straight. That's what Swami also said. Bhagavan Krishna mentions in a spiritual way, he said, your spiritual practices don't go waste. If you by chance go away, stray away from the path, or if you didn't get enough time to fulfill your spiritual journey, the next life, he'll create all conducive environment to continue the spiritual practices. And as I said, because the purpose of Ayurveda itself is swasthya. Swasthanam shiryate iti swasthya. If the purpose itself is getting us back to the original atmic state, the purpose, ultimately, your VPK fingerprint of the earlier life at the time of birth becomes your VPK fingerprint at the time of this birth, and that constitutes our, Prakriti. And the purpose is to bring about a VPK balance of the balance of balance in terms of mathematically, the Vata is to Pitta is to Kapha should be 1:1:1 in all of the seven tissues and 42 organs. That's where you need to target. So yes, it changes, and hence it can be changed again towards the betterment. And it's sometimes these remedies look so simple, friends. No, sometimes they. It feels it is such a simple remedy, but everything in toto actually helps bring about this balance. So there could be some simple yogasana exercises, some pranayama remedies that we ask you to do, we ask you not to do. A certain dietary regimen that we say, okay, these are the foods that you should have, you should not have. And then sometimes people say, oh, we have taken the medicine, doctor, but we have not been able to follow the diet. Again, why diets are important is because every food has a certain VPK fingerprint. For example, if you talk about eggplant has about 65% of Vata with a syntax of Rakta Vata Prakopan, which means the eggplant has 65% of Vata, 30% of Pitta, and 5% of Kapha. So, and its Vata is increasing Vata in the Rakta Dhatu. So, it's got tissue-based syntax, friends. That's how specifically, they act, and our rishis have already discovered that and documented them in the form of the Dravya Guna. Dravya Guna Dravya Gunas are the pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics of the doshas of each of these foods. So, the influence of foods, if we don't know the VPK status, we don't know what to eat, what not to eat. We think, that we are following, right diet, but right diet is appropriate diet that brings about a VPK balance. So that's about your question, Ranjish ji. I think, that's all for now.
One question, brother, is we heard that you do treat autistic special kids. The question
Yes.
is, have you seen any effect of Swami's Balvikas on these kids if they attend? Have you seen any such correlation between attending or learning Swami's teachings to?
That should have been done. But I'm assuming, see, what I do is, see, in respect to autism, what I saw is if the patients, kids are brought to me before 6 years of age, then by God's grace, Swami's grace, it's like 100% they can become normal people. There are several autistic kids that we were able to help become completely normal. Between 6 and 10 years of age, the improvement is anywhere between 70 and above. All right. And about 10 years of age, we are able to, show 30 to 40% only improvement because the brain completely develops by the 7 years of age. That's why, you need to reprogram the brain, that is slightly difficult. Right now, we're able to regenerate the brain in an acute stage. But in a chronic, autism is like by the time the kids come, if it is already, the brain is structure is already formed, reversing it will be very difficult. Uh, I'm working on it. I think that it is possible, but we haven't been able to do that research. Number one. So, uh, as a part of autistic treatment, we usually ask the parents, of course, to indulge in behavioral cognitive treatments, in terms of speech therapy and behavioral therapy and all. So possibly, I think we should try that. Balavika should be promoted, because I don't want it to look like being we promoting something. That's why I didn't. I asked them, like Swami said, I have come here not to create a new religion. I want a Hindu to become a better Hindu, a Muslim a better Muslim, and a Christian a better Christian. So I asked them to go back to their roots. That's all I say. So I think Bala Vikas is a very good idea. I think see why it didn't strike to me. We will do that. Then I'll say I'll send them to the nearest Bala Vikas. That will definitely help because that's a part of the behavioral therapy, isn't it? So anyhow, behavioral therapy and speech therapy are indicated in autism. So we could do Bala Vikas, and I'm sure it's going to help.
Yes,
The
another
autism program also based on VPK. Yes, absolutely, Prasad Nishtala garu. It is based on VPK, of course, because again, it could be every disease could be vata mediated, pitta or kapha mediated, or the dvandvaja mediated, dvandvaja dosha mediated. Two doshas could lead to, or sannipata. All the three doshas could lead to the same disease. So that's why if you know which dosha has led to a problem, then you can always reverse it. All right, that's point number one. So every disease for that matter, and even the heart disease, it's not me who's saying, again, the Ayurvedic syntax is pretty much established. It says, uh, for example, if you talk about heart disease, it says there's a Vataja Hridroga, Pittaja Hridroga, Kaphaja Hridroga, Dvandvaja Hridroga, Sannipataja Hridroga, Sahaja Hridroga, Krimija Hridroga. So just the ischemic heart disease that we label as ischemic heart disease in the current day, ICD classification 10, there are 8 different forms. It could be vata mediated, pitta, or a kapha mediated, and hence the dietary protocols will be different. The diets will be different. The herbs will be different. The formulation in which the herbs are made are different. The solvent will be different. Whether it is a asava, arishta, or a vati, guti. I mean, whether it is a watery extraction, whether it is a concentrated water extraction, whether it's a arka, whether it is a ethanol extraction. If ethanol is used, then what percentage of ethanol? Whether it is a asava is a ethanol percent, I mean, is a herb extracted with a low concentration of ethanol. When high concentration of ethanol is used, it's called as an aristam, and so on and so forth, friends. Um, so it's a very syntax-based disease. So Vata Pitta Kapha counts everywhere. I mean, it's not just the, again, general body VPK. It's about individual organ-based VPK. Okay, there's one piece of information that I think everyone should hear and I should share is people think that, we are either Vata dominant or a Pitta or a Kapha dominant. No, friends. We are 75% in our cohort we have seen in the last 25 years that 75% of individuals are mixed vata pitta kapha dominance, and the mixing is so unique to each individual that they have the VPK dominance is not homogeneously distributed across one's own organs in an individual. They're heterogeneously. Your heart could have vata pitta dominance and your liver could have a kapha vata dominance. So this is how mixing up of the possibly the Varna Sankarat Kareti is what chapter first 41st and 42nd shloka of Bhagavad Gita mentioned. Arjuna mentions about this problem. Possibly that must have led to mixing up of doshas, and Sannipata VPK dominance is the all the three doshas are heterogeneously dominant in 75% of individuals. So that's why meticulous Nadi Pariksha is very, very important to establish the VPK fingerprint, friends.
Yeah. One last question is, can Ayurveda restore hearing loss in senior citizens?
Oh, and senior citizen, Ramakrishna, I just missed it. Yeah. So, uh, in some it has restored it, in some it couldn't. It's not about Ayurveda, it's about the if there is some prana left in a tissue, it'll be able to, regenerate. So, okay, translating into a much simpler language is there are three very small and very fine bones in the ear, friends. Malleus, incus, and stapes. The very, very fine bones, and if they get sclerosed, there's no way. I mean, there is a way to restore their, normalcy, but it's a very long process. So, what I could say for sure is the tinnitus is mostly addressed. Tinnitus is the sound that the hush sound that you hear when these bones are damaged, or when there is a problem with the tympanic membrane. And hearing loss, it depends on whether it is a loss because of the disruption of the bones, malleus, incus, and stapes, whether they have got, whether it is because of uh, what did I say? Degeneration of these bones, or whether it is a calcification of these bones, or whether it is a problem with the tympanic membrane. It depends. But most of the times, because I didn't work much on ENT and ophthalmology cases, friends. I and ear, I didn't work much. My main concentration was, metabolic and immune disorders, because that's what, because being a cardiac surgeon, I was more focused on heart first. Then that led me into immunology. Immunology led me to diabetology, several immunological conditions, including cancer. So these are other specialties that people didn't come with. But Ramakrishna Garu, why don't you try with a certain what is it called as Anu Thailam? That's what we actually prescribe for what is it called? Anu Thailam in both the ears, friends. Just put in 2 drops of Anu Thailam in both the ears, and that could essentially, help. Again, the what else is there? AMD, macular degeneration, friends. Again, see, if the macular degeneration is nerve, related, then yes, several of my patients did get benefited. But if it is because of, if your central vision is blurred because of either the lens, or it all depends. As I said, eyes and ears are not. I didn't work much on these conditions, friends. So,
Yeah.
but still, if you restore the VPK balance to a great extent, it is going to help you in restoring your quality of life.
Yeah. Thank you so much, brother. We are almost at 9:48 p.m. So thank you. Our humble pranams at Swami's Lotus Feet. Thank you for taking time to talk to us and making it a white satsang on a snowy day. It was like, I would say it is a medico-spiritual session, I would say.
That's right.
You started with how Swami kind of guided you into the holistic form of life.
Yeah.
And then you pretty much, VPK, I think, will be the buzzword for all of us in the session going forward for some years now, or for many years. And you finally ended with a home run saying everything in a balance is good health. That's what Swami also says, right? Hurry, worry, and curry. He says, try to avoid this.
Correct.
And then that's exactly what you're saying as well, in a spiritual, medical way.
Yeah.
And you touched upon so many Sanskrit slokas and concepts, and we're all, I think, geared to go and read them ourselves and benefit from them. Thank you so much for taking time. Good to see you one more time, and we would love to have more of your sessions. I think it's endless.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think everybody is reaching out to us in phone, so we will give your contact information to them so they can reach out to you in person.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sai Ram. Jai Sai Ram.
We'll end up with the Aarti. Thank you.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Satya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Pati Maheshwara जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Thank you so much, sir. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sai Ram.